folks, welcome to Legacy IS Academy. In this video, we will be discussing a current affair topic presented to you by your faculty Sushma KP. So what is the topic that we will be discussing today? Why Supreme Court has upheld the dismissal of a Christian army officer for refusing to enter Gurudwara. We will be looking into a broad aspect as to what is happening. First of all, what is the recent development? What is this case about? First and foremost, there is a Christian army officer dismissal case we are discussing. Who is that Christian army officer? He is Lieutenant Samuel Kamaleson. Okay. Now, his religion is he belongs to Christianity and he was commanding a Sikh regiment. Okay. Under him, he was also commanding Sikh Jat and your Rajput Jawans. If you see what is the issue at hand, he was refusing to enter temple or Gurudwara sanctum. He claimed that there is no such thing called a Sarva Dharma Sthal. Understanding? Why was he objecting to enter into Gurudwara or temple? Is because he claimed that he is a monotheist and he does not want to enter into the place as his religion does not allow, and also respect for other religion. And he claimed it is because of his religious conscience he is objecting to enter. Now he has been counseled by many of his own officers, peers, and also he was counseled by a Christian clergy, that is by a pastor, and despite that he has not agreed to enter into Gurdwara or a temple. And this has been on a continuous level. Okay, even of his superior commanding officers, no matter how much they tell, he is not agreeing to enter. Because of this, finally he was terminated from army in 2021. Now what happened was, this person went ahead and challenged this dismissal. Okay, he was removed. So how did the court view this? First it went to High Court. How was this viewed? They viewed that this is not a religion versus religion case, but this is rather a discipline versus individual autonomy case, and that too in armed forces. First and foremost, the person here is claiming it is personal faith practice or individual conscience. And second thing, on one hand, if you're going to balance it out, on one hand it is individual conscience and on the other hand is collective military discipline. In your military, there is a clear following of the order of your chain of command. Here, when Supreme Court, first it was with your High Court, okay, High Court upheld the dismissal, that is removal of the army officer. Then this was appealed to your Supreme Court. Here Supreme Court also agreed to the same thing, that your army, that is your military, was right in doing the termination of employment. Here we are not, the Supreme Court also further goes on to tell that we are not punishing any religion. We are punishing your refusal to obey a lawful command which is coming from your senior, and that too in military. Especially in Supreme Court, the case was handled by your Chief Justice Suryakant and Justice Joymala Bagchi, who held that an officer is one who leads the troops and he cannot selectively opt out of regimental practices. That is one thing. Second thing is, according to the Army Act section 41, if you disobey a senior officer or a superior officer's order, that is an offense. Now, what is the person, that is the terminated employee, claiming here is, see, my article 25 is getting violated, that is my freedom of religion, for which Supreme Court has held that not every religious sentiment or practice is essential, and that does not mean that everything will have to be protected by your constitution. In this, Supreme Court held finally that we are upholding the termination, and so much so that at one point they even called this person a misfit for military, and disobeying your superior is a grossest form of indiscipline. See, when we take into this matter, see, in a civilian space you are doing this, okay, that will be dealt with different kind of rules, but this is you coming in a combat position. army or military, where everything is about, if you tell people ready to march without even thinking about their lives in such a position, you, when you're in a leader position, you have to look at the welfare of your team, morale building of your team. Yes or no? So they are claiming that by judiciary or your military in this matter, that leadership must be led by example. And your military is more secular and also very much disciplined. So chain of command is non-negotiable in this case. Why is this particular topic more important for present times? If you see, it is because the armed forces are more and more diverse. Identity based accessions like this, entering into uniformed services, will have a lot of implications. And at the same point of time, what happens in this case will set a precedent for the upcoming cases. Okay, that in a combat institution like your army, military, navy, collective discipline comes before your personal faith sensitivities. Okay, so what was your judiciary taking priority here? A unit cohesion, troop morale, or emotional discipline, or command authority. Here judiciary also noted that it is surprising that how a pastor or a Christian clergy has advised this person, has even counseled this person that it is okay to enter. So judiciary has pointed out that, so you are telling that your own pastor is wrong about your religion. So this is where they feel that no, your individual preference is something. But when it comes as a group or a team, and especially in a combat institution, you have to put the needs of your team first. Understanding? Before we see what happens further, we have a small announcement from Legacy IS Academy, wherein if you want to kickstart a UPSC civil service journey, then look no further. You have found the right spot with Legacy IS Academy. Where at Legacy IS Academy, we provide one-on-one mentorship, easy access to educator, daily mains answer writing challenge, prelims mock test series, interview mock test panels, holistic current affair classes, CSAT classes. We conduct our sessions in both offline as well as online mode. For those of you who are working professionals or students, you can avail our weekend classes. For those of you who want to see how the classes are run by yourself, you can take a demo class either in the offline or online. For more information, check out Legacy IS Academy website or contact the number given. Alright, now coming back to the topic. Why is this case important? If you see, first of all, this is not a religious issue and it should not be viewed as a religious issue. It is not a minority issue. It is more about your institutional discipline, especially a combat institution discipline. And it focuses more on military psychology and a unit. It's more of a symbolic unity, and also how the officer behaviors impact your soldiers. Now, if you will see similar cases that has happened like this, one is your Muhammad Zubair versus Union of India case, wherein a particular officer wanted to keep a beard. Okay, the Air Force corporal claimed, again, here the petitioner claimed that it is his religious right, for which a judiciary held that, see, it is only held that it is desirable to keep the beard in the religion, it is not mandated religious practice. And if you when your let's say Air Force rule is you have to have a clean shave, or you, beard is allowed but with formal permission, or limited exceptions are there, means it has to be with permission. Why are these very much necessary? In order for identification, command structure, and also psychological cohesion. So here what we are trying to speak about is that discipline comes first in these kind of institutions. Another issue is where we see with respect to your Major Prabhakar versus Union of India case, wherein a particular person, let's say here in this case, when a person refused to field a command citing ethical or personal objection, Supreme Court was of the opinion that respect of lawful command, irrespective of your motive, leads to indiscipline. Another is your Sukna land scam case. See, it is not anything about religious here, but it is more about important to understand that your personal morality cannot be overriding institutional command. Understanding? So, what does it state? Refusal of a lawful command is termed as misconduct. And your courts are continuously backing armed forces in this because it leads to your military wisdom as to what exactly is happening. So an individual's conscience cannot override combat discipline, and personal identity is secondary compared to your uniform collective structure and symbolic separation. That is, if you try to move away just because of your conscience, it is affecting the unity as a whole. Now we saw the cases with regarding to India. Now let's see the cases like this with regarding to the global level. First and foremost, we'll take the example of France, where a French army has dismissed soldiers for these reasons. What are those reasons? Refusing orders due to religious dress codes, refusing multi faith ceremonies. Your French court upheld what your French military, or that is your army, told, because military secularism is very much stricter, and also your secularism concept or religion concept is much stricter in military than in your civilian areas. That is true of any country. That should be how it is, at least. Now, with regard to USA, US Armed Force religious objection, where refusal to attend interfaith ceremonies, refusal for vaccination, citing that their faith doesn't allow. Your courts have ruled that, see, your military readiness trumps more than your religious accommodation. Your religious accommodation comes second, first comes your military preparedness. Understanding? Now, Pakistan come. See, let's take the Imran Khan case itself. How? Okay, even though that is not related directly, but if you see, religions divisions are tolerated, many factionalisms emerge. What happens is, when you have too much exceptions, the stability also becomes too less. If people can keep changing according to their rules, okay, so too much stability getting affected itself will be one of the reason why your civilian unrest becomes higher. But India is choosing a more professional and security military model. Okay, so why has the court rejected the personal faith argument? First of all, they tell that army is not a marketplace of your beliefs. Understanding? Civilian structures pay it is different, army pay it is different. Leaders have to show and lead, and they should not be just separating based on separate lines. And army is a unit of survival. Soldiers will take emotional cues from their commanders. So, if an officer distance himself, the soldiers will feel very divided. The court ignored that, yes, I have told, my pastor has told, another person has told. One surprising thing is they've told your pastor themselves has told you can go in, and you are not even agreeing to that. So it has ignored this, and also it has instead held stead ground on your fact of operational discipline and troop psychology and what is expected from the commanders. Okay, so in modern national security, if you see, institutional cohesion or your discipline matters most. Understanding, and this will supersede your individual preferences. Understanding? With this, we come to the end of the content. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, share it along with your friends. Thank you.